ANC Secretary-General, that's Ace Magashule, and his co-accused are back in court in the multi-million rand asbestos corruption case.
Yeah, but Magashule says charges against him are nothing but a political ploy to tarnish his image. Let's head over to both eNCA reporters, Siphamandla, Goge, and Masego Rahlaga, covering that story for us, Toombs.
Indeed. Let's start here. Of course, we know that, Masego, you are just outside court, just tracking down what's been happening there. Scores of crowds expected to come out in support of Magashule. What do you see from where you stand, Masego?
Well, Dumelo, it's that usual buzz of activity outside the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court here in the Free State, always ahead of the suspended Secretary-General of the ANC. There would be some activity outside court, an expectation that there would be a crowd of people who support him, who would be waiting for him to address them or say something to them outside court. So let me and my colleague Goge just show you a picture of how it's looking. Police preparing, of course, for the crowd that I was telling you about. So you'll notice the police nyalas and police officers themselves around the precinct where the court is. So this is only a small part, actually, Dumelo, that Goge and I are showing you in terms of how many police officers have been deployed to, look after whatever is going to or whatever might happen outside court, usually when the suspended Secretary-General appears. So it's quite busy. And if you look the other way, my colleague Goge will show you, you've got his security personnel already. That is Ace Magashule's security personnel. They arrive usually just before him. And then at some point when he arrives, you'll see, of course, there'll be a buzz of activity. There'll be people in support of him. I saw, for instance, your Carl Niehaus, etc., who are also here. They always appear. And what we're hearing is that there will be supporters. I haven't seen a lot of them at the moment, Dumela, but of course we know court starts between 9 and 10 a.m. And maybe they'll arrive at some point. So already quite busy. Barbed wire, actually, Dumela, as we were driving here, we saw barbed wire around the precinct and around the block where the court is.
Follow that far enough. We're going to find you not too far away. You're going to be inside court, though, this morning. Not too long until court gets underway. What do you have for us?
Well, indeed, we expect to get underway around 10 a.m. and I can tell you that today is going to be very interesting in terms of what we expect to hear from the prosecution team. We expect them to brief the judge about the latest developments. Now, just a little bit of background and context to how we came to today and tomorrow as being 2 days that were set down for this matter. On the 3rd of November 2021, the judge said all parties needed to have ironed out whatever pre-trial issues that may have existed before then. There have been a lot of disagreements and challenges between the state and the defense. Ace Magashule's legal representatives, they want the state to supply them with a list of witnesses and people implicating their client, and then the state and the prosecution, they are not budging, saying, hang on, that is not the case, we're not going to give it to you now. I've just spotted Mthunzi Mhaga here, the spokesperson of the National Prosecuting Authority, arriving. I'm going to try and quickly got some update from him as we expect, the state to brief the judge about the developments. You can come through, sir, and join me. Let's just get straight into it with Mthunzi Mhaga. Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga, thank you very much for your time. Last time we were here, you told the court, or the prosecution told the court, that Ace Magashule's former PA was no longer the state witness. She was now going to be the accused person. Has she been charged?
Not yet. The situation still stands that she's no longer a state witness.
Why has she not been charged then? Because in November you said by the time we come back here she would have been charged.
I never said by the time we come back here she would be charged. I said there is that consideration. That matter is still under consideration. I'm not at liberty to disclose the details thereof at this stage.
Is she back in South Africa or is she still in the United States?
I'm not aware of that.
But you should be aware, because she used to be your key star witness. Now she's a person of interest. You should be able to know of her whereabouts.
We are focusing on today's proceedings, which we will vigorously oppose because we believe that the application has no merit at all.
Ace Magashule says give him and other accused the list of witnesses implicating them. Are you still vehemently opposed to that? Are you not going to give them that list?
We are opposed to giving them that list because the list that they have is attached to the indictment that was given to them in February of last year in the magistrates' court. So that's sufficient information for them to prepare themselves for a trial.
I was still adamant that you've got credible witnesses besides former Ace Magashule's PA not being your witness anymore. The witnesses that you have, it seems as if you were pinning your case and your witnesses on her.
That's what the media believes. But we said, come to the trial when it resumes, you will know the strength of the state's case. We are not going to ventilate these issues through the media because that is not the proper platform to deal with that.
So today and tomorrow sit down for these pre-trial logistics and hearing. When are we likely? I know it will transpire in court, but in terms of the plan, you have always said you are ready to start with the trial. This matter is trial ready. Do you still hold the same view?
In terms of this prosecution, the state of readiness is that the witnesses are ready to testify and we are ready for them to plead to the charges. It's just that they've brought this application now, which we will oppose. After it's been dispensed with, the trial will resume, hopefully.
But we are likely to get more delays because it seems as if for the next 2 days you will be arguing a lot. You have not found each other. I'm talking about the state and the defense. Are you worried that more delays are likely?
Any delay in proceeding with a trial of this nature is worrying to the state. However, they are within their right to explore this legal avenue, which we will oppose.
Thank you very much for your time. That is Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga, who speaks on behalf of the National Prosecuting Authority, saying for now the PA or former PA of Ace Magashule has not been charged. Last year when we were here, the state was adamant and they were hopeful that by the time we come back here, they would have some developments. I've spotted Kondile Kedama here. He speaks on behalf of Mangaung Metro Municipality. Please join me, sir. We are out of time, but very briefly, I have to get a comment from this man. The entire Mangaung Metro is on shutdown. Why?
It's not on shutdown. Even if you look at the numbers are not yet, if there would be numbers are not high. The place is manageable. If you look at the streets, at first they were completely closed, those that are within the precinct. But if you look at them now, they are partly closed. People can still do their business as always. And we will just look at what is happening after the court. But I must indicate that whether numbers or not, but the risk remains. That is why we are working closely with SAPS. You can see that they are all over together with the law enforcement of the city.
Thank you very much for time, Baba. Let's release you. That's Kondile Kedama. I speaks on behalf of Mangaung Metro here as normal life and business life has been disrupted by this court appearance of 15 accused persons, 10 individuals and 5 businesses and entities. They include Ace Magashule and Edwin Sodi, former Mangaung Mayor Olimla Mleli as well.
Of course, as we wrap it up with Masego Rahlaga, and I saw you, colleague, definitely listening on that conversation between Siphamandla, Goge and Vuyomaka earlier on. But also right now, just getting clarity from the city's metro that they don't expect any, chaos. They do have the police standing by to ensure that business is as normal, life runs as normal. There isn't any chaos, of course, leading to this appearance. How does it look just before we wrap up with you, at least right now, leading up to that court appearance?
Well, Dumelo, they are right, actually. There are people who are able to get into the roads, even though they are blocked. So some people, for instance, this motorist here that's passing by, they did remove the cones for him to be able to go through, those orange cones. So they are quite right that people are able to move around. But of course, it's not normal. It's not a normal day today. The former SG, or rather the suspended SG, excuse me, who is expected to appear today, usually they expect that there'll be quite a lot of people outside court, whether it's for him to address them outside court when he's done. And we've heard what he said before. He says that this is a political case. He believes that he's being singled out. This is the reason why he is suspended. Actually, this was what broke the camel's back, actually, in this particular case, in terms of the step-aside resolution. As soon as he was charged in this asbestos case, that's when he was officially suspended as ANC SG. So you get a lot of people who are on his side. And remember, the Free State, where he was Premier before and 6 times an MEC in 6 different departments, this is where people say it's his stronghold. The Free State is his stronghold. So because he's appearing here, the police usually have to prepare just in case there'll be a lot of people outside court expecting him to address them, etc. We saw during the first few times that he was appearing here in court, ordinary people and politicians and people affiliated to politicians were outside court for the entire duration of the trial, waiting for him when he comes in and then waiting for him, in fact, until he gets out again. So that is why we've seen such a preparation. But I heard as well the Mangaung spokesperson telling my colleagues, Siphamandla Goge, that today it's not necessarily as hyped with police activity as it's been in previous court appearances. He says that people are able to continue with business. He says that it's not as blocked as previously. I think it's because as the cases were going, we saw that support for the suspended SG sort of dwindle in terms of people who are waiting for him outside. And of course, this is because we've been waiting for this long for this case to actually get underway. I heard Mthunzi Maga speaking to my colleagues, Siphamandla Goge from the NPA, saying that they gave them the indictment with a few of the witnesses that they were expecting to put on the stand already in February last year. And Tumelo, we in February this year. It's a year later, and this case is still continuing. So I think that's why the support has sort of died down outside court. But as I said, the Free State, a stronghold of the suspended Secretary-General Ace Magashule. So, of course, police are within their rights to try and prepare for anything that may happen.
All right, we leave it there. Masego, Rahlaga and Siphamandla Goge, of course, are in the Free State province following that court case where, of course, suspended SG of the ANC, that's Ace Magashule, expected to appear, and just getting those comments there from, of course, the NPA spokesperson, Mthunzi Maga. So does the Mangaung spokesperson say that all is in order just outside court in terms of the expected number of people that are expected to come to court to show support?
10 o'clock this morning, we're going to be back, I'm sure, to that courtroom as that court case gets underway. It's a big day.